Hello and welcome to the bonus training for how to be a social celebrity. In this video, I'll talk you through a few of the things that you need to be considering when you're putting yourself out on social media. It's interesting that whilst a lot of businesses are actually using social media for their business, there's a lot of them that really seem to forget about the social element of it. And it's something that's particularly true in the case of property professionals, estate agents in particular, that for some reason they just seem to treat it as another property portal, and it just isn't. Now, I do know that one or two agents do actually manage to pull that off, but as far as I'm aware, they've got a lot of ad spend behind that. It's not organic, it's not natural growth. And so we're going to talk about more to do with using social media, promoting your business in a more organic way rather than going into the paid ad side of things. So let's get started. Okay, now the goals of using social media for your business shouldn't necessarily be just to promote your business. What you're looking to do is really to engage with your perfect prospects, and to do that you don't really want to be having the same thing all across all of your social media platforms. The one thing you really don't want is just the same thing over and over again. So maybe if you are slightly more successful as an agent and you do have a lot of properties coming through your business, it looks great, on the surface of things, having lots of new properties. It might give people the impression that actually this is something that you're really good at. You're moving properties, you're getting lots of instructions, but really people on social media looking for properties. And so if you want to attract people away from their friends, their cat videos, their funny memes that they're looking at all day on social media, then you've really got to think a little bit more strategically. And you've got to start being a little bit more diverse in what you put out there to attract them in the first place. Once they're onto your page, actually having a few properties interspersed amongst it and having a way to get them off the platform into your website and to actually look at the full range of properties you got, that's brilliant. But if all you're posting is properties, then it's possibly going to be quite difficult for you to get people's attention. So that's kind of the goals covered. Now, another main thing that you're really looking to do with your social media is get engagement, because it's engagement that drives your reach. Now, if you just put loads of posts up and you don't get any engagement, you don't get any likes, you don't get any comments, and you certainly don't get any shares, who's going to share just a property after all? The search engine algorithm is going to look at your posts and just think, well, nobody's really interested in what they're doing, so they're not going to show it to anybody. Now, if you start putting up videos on how to get over certain problems, if you put up funnies, if you put up maybe some back office stuff, if you show what you're doing in the local area that might be of local interest that people will engage with, maybe they even got involved if it's a slightly larger event. These kinds of things, this driving of engagement, is also going to boost all of the other posts you do, including your property post. Now, it is something that will take time to build up, and even if you have a massive following, your organic reach is still going to be relatively low in comparison to your following. So, for example, you might get, let's say, 100,000 people following a page or joining a group. We can possibly touch on groups and pages a bit later because they are different. But yeah, let's say you've got 100,000 people in either or, and you put out a post and it gets a lot of engagement, and let's say it goes sort of semi-viral in your area. The next post that you put up still might only get a few thousand people actually see it, get the impression on their wall, And of those, very few might actually take any action on it if it's not something that they're looking for. So, you can kind of see the reason why paid ads are so popular on Facebook, because the actual organic reach is quite hard work to do. So it's not to say that you shouldn't do it, because what you do want on your wall, and particularly when you're positioning yourself as a local expert, you do want to come across as approachable and friendly and helpful, and you're not going to do that just by posting your latest instruction, your latest property, the whatever latest rental you've been instructed to get a tenant into. That's just not going to do it for you. So you have to start thinking about other ways of attracting people's attention on social media. Now, one of the ways that you can do this is by giving people value, and it's very simple to do that. So by giving people good information, and so let's say you help them solve a problem, maybe it's 10 tips on how to get the best value for their home before they put it on the market, and you basically do some social media engagement around a post that you've created, and in that post there's maybe a checklist, and as a bonus, instead of just 10 things, maybe you could add 15 things. What you could also do is like we've done with this video. So when you went to our landing page, now however you got to it, through social media, searching or whatever, when you got to the landing page, it basically says on there, give me your name and your email address and I will send you whatever it is I've promised you. So in this instance, it's the guide on how to be a social celebrity. And then I tell you underneath, as a bonus, I will give you a bonus training video for getting the download. So I've not only given you the download, which I promised in the first place, I've now also created this video to help you a little bit further in understanding what I'm talking about in the guide. So it's adding that extra level of bonus, it's helping people out, it's giving people value. And if the content is valuable in terms of it helps them overcome a problem, get to a destination, have an end result, then people are going to be happy and they will engage more with your other content. It's also great for SEO if you've got landing pages on your website with your thank you pages, and your content is being downloaded and people are joining your group as a result, or whatever it might be. People will look at your other stuff. But if all you've got is properties, if they scroll down a couple of pages on your Facebook feed, on your wall or in your group or wherever, and all you've got is your latest instructions and you've got nothing else of any interest, if they're not looking at that point, or they feel like they see a couple of the properties you've got and they've already seen them on Rightmove or Zoopla or on the market, are they going to keep looking? Are they going to get in touch with you through the social platform? Probably not. So really, what you're using your social platform for is to give value, which should be your number one strategy, and engage with your audience. You can ask them questions, you can ask them what their problems are, what they're struggling with, how they're finding their search, things like that. May not get masses of engagement, but the engagement that you do get will be highly qualified potential buyers or sellers. And so you can then follow up with them based around whatever their answers are as well. So giving value on social media should be something that you should be thinking about as a number one priority. So as well as value, you should also be going, as I've touched on, variety, because like I say, you really don't want people to look at your wall and just know what to expect. You want to have different stuff on there. Now, there are many different types of posts that you can use on social media. You can use the engagement type post, as I just alluded to. If you've got products or you have some kind of brochures or giveaways, you can put them on there as well. There's nothing wrong with doing that. news or other trending posts. There's no reason why you couldn't share yourself. I mean, obviously you may not want to share stuff from your direct competitors, but if it's an industry-wide thing that you've seen an article that's really well written and you just haven't got around to doing it yourself yet, but you still want to give that value to your audience, just give it a quick share. Of course, you can promote your latest blog post. Who knew? You can also do things like competitions, screenshot posts, infographics, personal photo posts even. I mean, showing who you are and what you're doing in your local community would be a really great way to boost your local celebrity, because you might get people involved with what you're doing as well. You can also do behind the scenes kinds of stuff if you're planning your day, and maybe you're just looking to explain the value that people get when they engage an estate agent, and what it is you do for them and what they can expect if they would engage you. Those behind the scenes kinds of things can dispel the myth of all an agent ever does is come and takes a few photos and sticks it on a property portal, because we all know there's more to it to that, but there is a very general perception of that out there in the wider public. And if you want to show that that's not you and you do much more, they're not going to know unless you sort of tell them. So get that kind of information out there in the public domain for your local area, so that people know that when they come to you, they're getting the best possible service they can expect. And finally, don't forget about video. I mean, even if you do short videos that possibly promote other things that are off the site, you can use that video with a little call to action to say, if you want to find out more about whatever you've just spoken about, just comment with the word whatever in the comments, and then you can send them the link to the blog post, and then you don't fall foul of putting a link in to your post and really cutting off your organic reach, because links to external sites on particularly Facebook posts, but also Instagram and even Twitter, they really do not like that, and they will cut your reach to virtually nothing if you put external links in your post. Put it in the first comment, or get people to respond to have you send them something through Messenger. But having that variety, when people scroll through your group, your business page, or your personal wall, will really make it more interesting for people. They'll probably catch something that is of interest to them, rather than if they're not looking for a property right now, or they think they've seen everything you've got already on the portals, they just won't bother looking at all. So have that variety, have that interest, and you'll probably get a lot more people actually scrolling through and looking at some of your past stuff, rather than just hoping that they see the latest post on your feed. Now, scheduling is the next part of it. So you're adding value, you're putting up a variety of posts, but to show the search engines that you're engaging with your audience, you're being present, you're on their platform, you need to be posting regularly. Now, if you have, like a lot of agents, really busy days, you don't really know what you're going to be doing from 1 minute to the next, then probably you should be using some form of scheduling tool. There are loads out there. Just have a look around, see what takes your fancy. There are often new tools coming onto the market that even I couldn't tell you what they are, because they might have only just been released, and they'll often have amazing deals for you to sign up, early adopters, getting grandfathered into long-term low pricing, various things like that. If you just want something that is going to work and has some extra features and functionality, go for one of the more established ones. They'll be a bit more expensive, but they'll definitely do the job, and they'll also help you with scheduling different types of content at different times, and they'll be able to split test and see which engagement, which posts get the most engagement, and be able to hone down into ideal times for you to post at, so that you get the most engagement. So definitely look at some form of scheduling if you are busy and you don't have time to sit there and post it manually. or you think you might forget or be called away or something else. That's a good tip of staying present on the platforms and not having to wonder, did I post this morning? Did I forget? Should I do it at lunchtime? It's a few hours later than I intended, all those kinds of things. Now, one thing that quite a lot of people do not use, you don't see many things like competitions on the social platforms, but actually they can be a really good way of boosting engagement. Who doesn't like something free? Now, the way that competitions normally work is the bigger and the better the prize, the more engagement that you're going to get. That's just the way it is. But you've got to be a little bit careful about going too big, because obviously you don't want it going global, certainly, because that'll mean that 99.99% of people that actually get involved in your competition will never buy from you, no matter what. You could go national, and that will certainly get your name out there. And if you are doing it through, let's say, your website, that would be really good for your SEO. If you were doing it through your website and you got masses of engagement to a competition that's hosted on your site, then that is obviously going to boost your trust from the search engines to say that people are really engaging with this site. It may be a short-lived thing unless you do competitions on a regular basis or put out some really high-value content that really gets some good engagement on it. But it is something that you could potentially think about, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something expensive. It just could be something that is difficult to get. For example, maybe there's a local hotel in your area that you're on good terms with the manager, and maybe they don't have their best suite in the hotel booked out solid for the next year like they did in the past because of the pandemic. And maybe you could come to a deal with them to say, could we get the room at a deal for a 4-day break, a mini break, a weekend or something? Just get creative. You could throw in a hamper and some champagne and some other goodies, and some people will go for that. And if you put it far enough into the future, when you think maybe if you said 3, 4, 5 months down the line, you'd have all that time to promote it, and you could say at that point, if for whatever reason it's not possible to take the break, or you can't come because you've got coronavirus and you have to self-isolate or whatever it might be, give an alternative to rebook at another time or something else. Come up with some kind of alternative that they could perhaps get, and just think about it. Obviously you'd have to look up rules for competition and judging and entries and all the other various things, so there's a little bit of work to do, but it is something that can be really, really effective and can go viral, particularly if it's to do with your area. Now obviously anybody that can travel there can enter, and there's not really much you can do about that, but like I say, if you host it on your website, it can definitely give you that extra trust factor with the search engines, and they'll see there's a lot more traffic coming to your site as a result. Now, another thing that you can also do, which again doesn't get done that much, there are lots of quizzes around the social platforms, but they're often not business related. So it could be that you come up with some ideas, some fun ideas for some quizzes around figuring out things that people don't know about themselves. What type of investor are they? What type of house buyer are they? Just if you've got a series of questions that you ask people to find out certain things to get to a certain idea about what it is they're looking for, stick it into a quiz, see how it does. Because a lot of people like doing quizzes just for the sake of doing quizzes, even if they have no intention of buying a house or investing in property or renting something out in the near future. They will still do them quite often. And so actually using something like a quiz could be a good way of getting that engagement up, finding out what people's interests are, what problems they're having, and really helping you put out the right sort of content to help them. So again, something to think about on that front. And of course, for all these things, competitions, quizzes, creating up different kinds of things, and there's loads of tools out there that will help you with these kinds of things if you just search for the tools that can do that. Some of them can be quite expensive if they're well established and they've got a really good system for helping with engagement and multiple entries and all that kinds of thing. But just to get started, just to test it out, you can really keep it simple and just use a few pages, a form on your website, whatever it might be, and just do things a little bit more manual. And if all of a sudden it takes off and you can't cope, then go and grab a tool, because you're going to get that engagement. If you can blow it up on a manual system, once it's fully automated, it'll be great, because then you can start putting people into funnels and figuring out exactly what they want and getting them all of the information that they need and giving them all the information about the services and the best way to go forward. So quizzes, another great way of really engaging with people on social media. So the final thing we're going to talk about in this video is omnipresence. Now, omnipresence is essentially being on all of the platforms all of the time. Now, you might think, I don't have time for that. But what you can do with a little bit of forethought and planning is break down your content for different platforms. So if you create a video that's going to go on to your blog post, as an example, you could take out snippets for that and you could use it on Facebook. You could upload to Facebook. You can take a 10-minute section out of it and put it onto LinkedIn. You can do 15-second clips to put up on Reels or TikTok, or you could put it on Instagram. You can use IGTV if you've got enough followers on there. So by having a bit of a plan when you initially create your content, if you don't think, for example, you're going to have any 15-second clips throughout your content, then be aware of, if you haven't found any short clips in your past videos, that when you make your future ones, you create some, even if it's at the end as an outtake or an extra thought. Just create a 15-second clip that you think, I'm going to use that on TikTok and Instagram stories, and I'll use this 10-minute section over on LinkedIn. And you can start to plan where you're going to chop up these sections of video or stills or whatever it might be from the content and distribute them across the platforms. And so with, I won't say it's no effort, but with far less effort than you might think, you could actually show up on several platforms, not just all at once on one day, but actually you can spread it out with your scheduler over a number of weeks. And as you create more videos and you intersperse those amongst each other, again, depending on which platform people are on any given day, they'll see different things on Instagram to Facebook to Twitter to YouTube to your blog post, depending on which platform they're on which day, because you'll be promoting them different things at different times, just to spread it out and make it so that it doesn't look like you've created one video and just put it everywhere all at once and blanketed the whole internet. Because if they've seen it once, they might not want to watch it again, particularly if it's a longer piece of content the same day. So you could have different pieces of content, and as you build this up going forward, some of your content that you create will be evergreen, so you can reuse it down the road. Maybe you'll make a few changes to some of the graphics, maybe do a few updates on the headlines and the content that you're promoting. But ultimately, if it's a subject that doesn't change very often, you can use it over and over. And let's face it, on social media, it's very much a live, active, day-to-day kind of a thing, because although you can scroll down the wall and you can go through the feed in the group and see what has been posted, throughout the history of the page, most people don't scroll down that far. And so just because you've posted something once doesn't necessarily mean they've seen it. And so if you post it again in a week or 10 days or 2 weeks or even a month's time, there's a good chance that most of the people that see it won't have seen it before, and they'll be thankful that they came across your valuable piece of content that has basically been formatted for them in that particular space by you, so that they can get the information that they need. So there's a few other things that you're going to get in the guide, which should be in your inbox by now, and if it's not, or you haven't signed up for it yet, just grab the link from below this video, go and sign up for it. You'll have it within a couple of minutes. But other things to think about will be, as I've just sort of touched on, are things like the design. So when you put a video up, obviously you can't add pictures to that, but you could have a little intro screen at the front, just so that that's what people see in the video. Obviously if it's a YouTube, you have a proper thumbnail, but a lot of the social platforms don't necessarily allow you to do that. Using hashtags. So if your content is evergreen, make sure that you use a number of hashtags and relevant ones. Use some popular ones. They may still pop up in some of those if the content is good enough, but also you can use brand hashtags, you can use keyword hashtags, and that basically means that if anybody's searching for that subject in the future and you've created about it and put it on the social platforms, they're more likely to find it. That doesn't happen a lot, but because it's so little effort, you might as well just put them on there, because even if you only got a few hundred extra views over the course of, say, 6 months, it would still be worth you having those extra views. And who knows, some of those, if they're looking for those particular hashtags for a reason and you've given an answer to that reason, they may well become your clients. Another thing to think about as well is the headline. When you create a video, give it a title, give it a good headline. If you're using an image for a post, then if you can fit the headline into the post as something that's quite bold and stands out, then that often can get you a bit more engagement as well, because as people are scrolling past, they'll see the headline, they don't have to read the tiny text above or below the post. And that will also tie into another giveaway that we actually do, is on how to create the perfect hook. So I will put a link somewhere around this video. I'll come up with some way of you being able to get all of the giveaways that we do from somewhere. Maybe I'll do it through Instagram. So if you look on our Instagram page, go onto the link there. If it's not today, it will be sometime in the near future. We'll add a link in that gives an access to all of our giveaways. So that's it for the bonus training for how to be a social celebrity. This giveaway is actually from our local celebrity leads mastery coaching program, and actually with the social celebrity giveaway, this actually sits, let me just pull up the graphic, in our roadmap. If you look at step number 7, you can actually see that this is action number 2. So in the Times of Premiere module, the step 7, we also go into how to tease your content and create trailers from step 6 with lead magnets, etc. But we also actually go through how to do a mini launch of content, so that you can try and get some excitement for your content before you post it, such that you get engagement when you do. So that's where how to be a social celebrity sits in our 9-step roadmap of how to be a local celebrity leads master, and in our coaching program, if you were on this module, you will have already done all of the work in the previous 6 steps to get you to this point. So if you're actually thinking about using social media, but you don't have a basic audit review of your website, your SEO, your compliance, and you haven't set goals, and you don't have an avatar of your perfect client, and you don't have all of your brand messages sorted out, and you don't know who all of your competitors are, and again, there's another giveaway on that, but if you've not gone through that step of our program and you don't know who all of your competitors are, you might be surprised there's more than you would think. Obviously this is online, but there are a lot of people out there trying to take away attention from you. And then we go through all the various aspects of how to position yourself, utilize your expertise, make great videos, hook people in with your titles, your headlines, how to lay out your content well, and to create lead magnets such that you can put it on social, tease the content, be the social celebrity, and actually then go on to launch, review, validate, over deliver on your content, and then automate everything such that you can get leads on autopilot with organic traffic. So if that sounds like something that may be of interest to you and you'd like to know more, then what I would suggest is you do one of the things on this contact page. So contact me through either the Facebook page or my personal page, or join the group and you can pop up a message in there. If you want to go to our website, there's an email address on there, there's a phone number on there. However you want to get in touch, please do feel free to do so. When you put free call into Messenger and you send that over to me, I'll start up a little conversation with you. Obviously, I'll know you've looked at one of our lead magnets. So that's what essentially this How to Be a Social Celebrity Guide is. It's something to get you interested in our program. However, the program at the moment is quite limited. It's a one-to-one coaching program. It's not open to everybody. You do have to pre-qualify, get on a call, and make sure that you're a good fit for the program. If you're not, we'll give you as much help as we possibly can and point you in the right direction until such time as you potentially are a good fit. But if you wanted to get the one-on-one coaching and have a number of services done for you, which is also provided within the program, you'll find out more about that as you get further down the inquiry route. Then, like I say, all you need to do is put free call into Messenger and we'll start a little chat. There's no pressurized selling. There's no limited time deals or you're not going to get in. There obviously is limited availability, and at the point that I'm full and I can't take any more people, I won't lead you down the garden path. I'll just tell you as it is, and I'll tell you when the next slots are likely to open, and just keep an eye on the social media to find out, when we start promoting to take on board new people again. If you register your interest, obviously it'll be first come first serve as who we get in touch with to come on board down the line. So that is finally it for this bonus training. If you have found it helpful, please do give us a thumbs up. This is a YouTube video, so you can give it a like. If you didn't like it, obviously, please comment and tell me why. If there's something that you felt I missed or I didn't explain very well, would be really happy to hear from you, and I would happily help you find out whatever it is you thought that I may have missed. If you'd like to get more content like this, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as I say, please do let us know in the comments what you thought, whether that be good or bad. don't mind if it's either. If I've not done a good job for you, if you didn't get any value from this video, I really want to hear from you. If you think I did do a good job and I have provided some value, would love to hear from you as well. That would be great. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for staying until the end, and until the next video, enjoy the rest of your day and goodbye for now.